He had an excuse for everything. Not the dramatic kind. The everyday kind that sounds responsible, until you realize it's been stealing your life. And the day he stopped making excuses wasn't the day he felt motivated. It was the day he finally heard his own voice and didn't respect it anymore. Welcome to Forge Morning. This channel is about discipline, ownership, and life lessons told through stories, calm, direct, and practical. This episode is inspirational storytelling for educational and motivational purposes. It is not spoken by, affiliated with, or endorsed by any real individual. Some content may be created with the assistance of AI for creative expression. Now let's get into it. His name was Ethan, 32. Smart. Likeable. The kind of guy people described with one dangerous word: potential. Potential became Ethan's hiding place, because potential lets you feel like you're winning without doing the work. Ethan wasn't lazy in the obvious way. He showed up. He did enough. He stayed employed. But his life was on pause. He had goals he talked about like they were scheduled: getting in shape, building a side business, improving his confidence, becoming someone who didn't panic under pressure. He just kept pushing the start date forward, and every time he delayed, he had a clean excuse, always reasonable. I'm busy. I'm tired. It's been a rough week. I'll start Monday. I just need to get through this quarter. He never said, I don't trust myself. But that was the real reason, because excuses are often what you build when self-trust is gone. That Monday started the same way all his Mondays started. Alarm, snooze, snooze again. Ethan opened one eye and negotiated. 5 more minutes. Okay, 10. I'll catch up later. Then he rolled out of bed late, rushed through the shower, skipped breakfast, grabbed his phone, and walked out. In the elevator, he checked his messages. At 6:12 a.m., his manager had written, "Meeting room at 8, no delays." Ethan felt irritation rise immediately. This company is insane. They don't respect people. No one can work like this. And again, he wasn't wrong. But here's what he noticed later. He wasn't just angry at them. He was angry at the feeling of being weak. Because the moment pressure showed up, he became reactive. At his desk, he opened his project dashboard. 50 tasks, 12 overdue. He stared at the screen and felt his chest tighten. And then the excuses arrived like trained employees. I could do this if I had a better team. If priorities didn't change. If leadership wasn't chaotic. If people stopped bothering me. His brain was building a courtroom defense. And that's the problem. Excuses don't help you execute. They help you avoid accountability. At 7:58, Ethan walked into the meeting room with his laptop, pretending he was calm. The meeting was a quarterly review. Leadership on one side, employees on the other. Ethan presented his update, timeline, progress, blockers. Halfway through, the director, Mark, cut him off. "Stop," Mark said. Not loud, not emotional. Calm, almost bored. "This is not progress," Mark continued. "This is movement without results." Ethan tried to explain. "We had some blockers." Mark raised a hand. "No, don't start." Then he said the words Ethan had been trying to avoid hearing for years. "I don't care about your excuses. I care about outcomes." Silence. Mark leaned back. Everyone is busy. Everyone is tired. If you can't deliver, you're not the right person. Ethan felt his face warm. He wanted to defend himself, list everything he'd dealt with. But the truth was sitting in his throat, heavy and embarrassing. Ethan had been busy for months and still avoided the hard parts. Avoided uncomfortable conversations. Avoided disciplined mornings. Avoided making decisions. Avoided being the person who takes ownership when it's easier to blame the chaos. Mark finished with a sentence that didn't sound cruel. It sounded factual. "I need executors," he said, "not explainers." Ethan nodded like he understood. Inside, something broke. Not dramatically, quietly. Because in that moment, he realized something. His excuses were not protecting him. They were exposing him. After the meeting, Ethan walked back to his desk in silence. People avoided eye contact. Not because they hated him, because humiliation is contagious in offices like that. At 5:43 p.m., Ethan got into his car. He didn't start the engine. He sat there with both hands on the steering wheel and stared forward. And he felt something worse than anger. He felt disappointment. Not in Mark, in himself. Because he knew Mark wasn't wrong about the pattern. Ethan had become someone who always had an explanation, and explanations were cheaper than execution. That night, he drove home without music, without distractions, like he was finally ready to hear the truth. At home, Ethan's girlfriend Rachel asked him how his day was. He almost said what he always said. Fine. But his face betrayed him. Rachel watched him for a moment and asked quietly, "What happened?" Ethan hesitated. Then he told her the truth. "He said I'm full of excuses," Ethan admitted. "And I think I am." Rachel didn't give him a motivational speech. She didn't try to comfort him out of it. She said something simple. "So what are you going to do?" That question hit harder than the meeting, because excuses collapse when you're forced to answer with action. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, opened a notebook, and wrote, "No more excuses." Then he wrote, "Everything is my responsibility." And for the first time, he didn't write it like a quote. He wrote it like a contract. Then he added one more word beneath it. Good. Because he remembered something he once heard in a clip, an attitude that cuts through self-pity. If it's hard, good. If you're tired, good. If you're behind, good. Now you have something to overcome. He wasn't pretending to be tough. He was deciding to stop negotiating with weakness. Ethan didn't start with a giant transformation. He started with one rule. Every day, I keep one promise to myself. Not 10, 1. But he also did something smarter. He didn't rely on willpower. He redesigned his environment to kill excuses before they spoke. That night, he did 3 things. He put his alarm across the room. He laid out his clothes and shoes. He wrote a simple checklist on paper. Wake up, make bed, 10 minutes movement, shower. One hard task before work. Simple, clear, no debate. The next morning, the alarm went off. His brain immediately tried, "You didn't sleep enough." Ethan stood up anyway. Not because he felt strong, because the decision was already made. He made the bed. Not because it changed the world, because it changed him. It was proof. Then 10 minutes of exercise. Then shower. Then, before opening email, before scrolling, he did one hard task. 10 minutes of focused work on something he'd been avoiding. Not because 10 minutes was impressive, because 10 minutes was real. And real beats impressive. On day 3, he wanted to quit. He didn't. On day 5, he felt slightly different. Not motivated, trusting. Because self-trust isn't a feeling, it's a collection of evidence. 2 weeks later, Mark assigned Ethan a difficult client escalation. "Lead the call," Mark said. "Fix it." Old Ethan would have panicked, then explained why it wasn't possible. New Ethan did something different. He asked one sharp question. What's the priority? Speed, cost, or quality? Mark blinked. "Quality," he said. Ethan nodded. "Then I need one thing," he replied. "I need you to remove 2 tasks from my plate today. I'll send the list in 5 minutes." That wasn't an excuse. That was ownership. Ethan wasn't saying, "I can't." He was saying, "I can if we align reality." He sent the list. Mark approved it. Ethan prepared, led the call, stayed calm, and when he didn't know something, he didn't hide. He said, "I don't have that answer yet. I'll deliver it by 3 p.m. Then he delivered it by 2:47. After the call, a coworker leaned over and asked, "Who are you lately?" Ethan didn't smile big. He just said, "I stopped negotiating with my excuses." Here are the life lessons from this story. Excuses feel good now. They destroy you later. They give relief today and regret tomorrow. Ownership is freedom. When you say, "It's on me," you stop waiting to be saved. Discipline beats motivation. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a decision. Keep small promises to yourself. That's how self-respect comes back. Remove excuses before they speak. Design your environment. Use a checklist. Reduce choices. The hard days matter most. Anyone can show up when it's easy. The change happens when it isn't. Your challenge for the next 24 hours. Pick one excuse you repeat the most. Write it down. Then write one counteraction that takes 10 minutes. No negotiation. When the excuse appears, say one word. Good. Then move. Comment ownership below if you're done making excuses and tell me, what excuse are you cutting out first? Subscribe to Forge Morning for more calm, practical life lessons told through stories. No hype, no noise, just daily discipline. See you in the next one.